Hello, welcome everyone to the FPL video. My name is Mo, and today what we'll be discussing in this video is the potential activation of your wildcard in Game Week 8. Now, it's the international break, so we've got 2 weeks to think about this, but this is the kind of key time or the main kind of page or date we highlighted before the FPL game season started that we're going to be activating our wildcard in Game Week 8. So this is going to be like the hot topic, the hot time, and the best time for people to redraft their teams, look into where they've gone well, where they've not gone so well, and kind of rip up their squads and hopefully set themselves up for the next 10 to 12 game weeks to really achieve the best score they can in FPL. So there's key topics to discuss: why we're going to activate it now, why we should hold on to it, if you've played it already, why you should actually make some few transfers here and there to actually get to the overall objective you want to with the minimal hits and the overall objective achieved as soon as possible. Some other things what we'll look at is player shortlists, which players you should be targeting, which players you should be avoiding. Should we be looking to bring them in at a specific point? We'll discuss all that based on fixture swings and fixture difficulty as well. So we're looking at draft templates, some other key questions. Which big names potentially should we drop? So Kevin De Bruyne, Ronaldo, Alonso. You know, these are the kind of players that actually are in our teams at the moment, and we're thinking, should we get rid? Should we replace them? It's all going to be discussed today. So the wildcard is the big topic, and we are here to discuss all that with you in today's video. But before we go on to the main topics, all I want you guys to do is to like the video. If you like the content, and please hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to FPL Inklink already. Let's get to that 1K as soon as possible. We've just crossed 900 subscribers. We're almost there. So let's get stuck in. So this is my team from Game Week 7. So I achieved 38 points. Now for me, if I hadn't have played my wildcard in Game Week 3 because of Ronaldo's arrival, I pretty much would have played it this game week. Now, what does this mean for me? What do I need to do to get to a position where I need to go? There's some key questions for me to address. We'll address all that. But let's have a look at what questions you have asked me or what you're considering for this international break. So why should we wildcard? What's the biggest concern? Why do we need to knee-jerk? Is there a need to knee-jerk? Should we just be patient? Why is Game Week 8 marked as the biggest day or the game week for us to consider a wildcard? Now, there's several questions. We'll address them one by one. The first thing was the fixture swing. So teams like Chelsea, they have an insane fixture swing compared to someone like a Manchester United whose fixtures I think will go more difficult. They haven't played as well, so potentially a lot of players are moving away from players such as Luke Shaw, Greenwood, Ronaldo. These were kind of the big kind of players that were selected from Manchester United who at the start of the season had more favourable fixtures but haven't performed to the expectations of most FPL managers, including myself, so they've been binned. Now from this draft, you see I've got Ronaldo in there. He was benched this weekend. I don't know why, but that probably might tip people over the edge who are actually debating, is Lukaku a better option? Is Ronaldo, fixture proof? Is he undroppable? But that's it. He's rotation. The guy's the most expensive player in the game, and we are now questioning, is he a rotation risk? Which is insane, really, because would you ever say that for Mo Salah? Would you say that for someone like a Mane? Yeah, they benched the odd game here and there, but Ronaldo, just before an international break, should Ollie have benched him? It looks great in hindsight for us to make that call, but he put all his main guns on the bench. So Pogba, his main assist maker this season, on the bench. Ronaldo, his main goal threat, on the bench. Sancho, his most expensive summer signing, on the bench. When Everton saw that team sheet, they must have been flying with confidence, thinking, you know what, this team is there to be beaten, and they should have won if Alan had his shooting shoes on for that day. He just squared it, he was offside, and it didn't count. But at the end of the day, what we need to do is address A, fixtures, B, player form, and C, where does your team stand at the moment? Should there be any drastic changes? Now, the question I've been asking myself is, I've played my wildcard. Do I need a serious change or like a makeover to this team? Yes. Do I need to take a big points haul? I don't know. That's a question I haven't answered yet. I'm tempted. I really want to basically make sure that I can get the players in that I want to. So what's not worked out for me? Alonso. Now, I know Chilwell started halfway through the Champions League game and there's a lot of expectations for him to come in. But from my perspective, the guy's been the highest point-scoring defender this FPL season, and he's been one of the main goal threats for Chelsea. So the fact that he's going to be rotated, do I want a £6 million defender from Chelsea, whose fixtures I was personally targeting, on the bench, coming on, substituting, rotated? I'm not too sure. Should I go safe? Should I look at the Manchester City aspect or assets? I should do. So those are the kind of things that we can look at as well. So we'll look at all those points and questions as well. So the main question in the wildcard at the moment, or what managers are thinking about at the moment, considering playing it or not, is how many premiums do we actually need? So the general consensus was we need 3 premiums when we started the game back in game week 1. That kind of stayed with us. So 3 premiums usually included Trent. So Trent, Salah, Ronaldo, Trent, Salah, Lukaku, Salah, Bruno, Kane. These were the kind of combinations we were looking at. But eventually what people are looking at now is, for the next couple of game weeks, is it even worth having the 3 premiums? Firstly, is it actually worth having Trent during that period? So Liverpool's fixtures are kind of a bit like a wavelength. So they have a good fixture, a difficult fixture, a good fixture, a difficult fixture. So I'll give you an example. They've got Watford, Manchester United, Brighton. And then if we look at their fixture after the Brighton game, you can see there's West Ham away. Now, West Ham, yes, they lost to Brentford on the weekend, but they still had an outstanding season this season. And Liverpool, yes, they dropped points against Brentford. They drew against Man City at home. But there are moments defensively where they do look fragile. Now, whether that was because Trent wasn't available for the Man City game and Milner was exposed, we can't really write too much home about that, but we need to be considering these facts and looking at these fixtures. So the reason why I've got 4 game weeks here is in game week 12, there'll be another fixture swing, which again, when we get closer to that moment, we can make our decision based on that. Now, a wild card for 4 game weeks is absolutely fine, because then over these 4 game weeks, you can actually build towards potentially changing your squad by game week 12. So, example, you can save up 2 transfers till game week 10, play a transfer, kind of set yourself up for game week 12, and then continue playing the 2 transfers up to game week 12 itself, by playing the 1 transfer in game week 10 and game week 11, and vice versa. Or you can hold it in game week 11 and play the 2 in game week 12. So personally, as you can see, the team at the top is the team with the most easiest fixtures over the next 4 fixtures. This is according to the FPL fixture predictor for the difficulty. So as you can see, Chelsea are at the top and Manchester United are at the bottom in terms of the most difficult games, along with City and Liverpool. Now, for me, this is according to the teams I've just selected, so according to the website. Now, for me, Manchester City, they do look fairly towards the bottom of the list, but defensively, those 3 games, should we actually target their defence? Should we go for a premium goalkeeper? That's all for us to consider. But these are the fixtures that we should actually be contemplating whether we should or shouldn't play specific team players or not. So another thing which is kind of determining the output in terms of what you should, in terms of, triple up on or maybe double up on, is fixture. So you can see Liverpool and Manchester United playing each other in game week 9, and then Manchester United playing Manchester City in game week 11. So tripling up on those teams might be a big risk, but it might be worth playing now to set yourself up to potentially make transfers for that game week, i.e. Manchester City. If you do decide to triple up on them, by Manchester United, even though it's at Old Trafford, potentially you could look to rotate or swap one player out by then and get an alternative team player, someone from like an Arsenal or a Chelsea, to really make sure you can drive the fixture advantage back then. But there's no difficult game, no easy game in this league, guys. They're all really good teams, and fixtures, we can look at them day and night and say, yes, that should be something achievable. We thought Southampton wouldn't score at Stamford Bridge, but they did. They scored from a penalty, should have scored more, but it shows that every defence can be targeted. Man City conceded 2 against Liverpool at Anfield. Now that's Anfield. Should we look away from their defence for those 3 fixtures? I don't think so. I think we should definitely look at them, potentially even tripling up, including Edison. Could be an option for you guys as well. So injuries is another thing over these 2 weeks, which can be something which might play a part in your decisions. Is it worth waiting till the latter part of the international break? So waiting till like the last 3 or 4 days. Now, the benefit of that is you can actually see a clearer idea of which players you're looking to play. But the benefit of the wildcard is you can change it as many times as you like, because the drawback to that is there's going to be a price rise. So, for example, players like Cancelo, who are pretty close to an increase in price, potentially Lukaku due to the increase in number of managers bringing him in, you will see player price rises go up. Ramsdale, for example, could go up by 0.1 mil during this period as well. So potentially hitting it now, if you're going to wildcard and look out for injuries and tinker at last minute, can be an option. So it's a bit of a give and take. But for me, if you're looking to wildcard, make the squad now, keep an eye out for injuries, and if you need to tinker, you can do it last minute if need it be. But it's a good time. It can be a bit too long for you to overthink it. You can make changes again and again, but that's the benefit of an international break, is if you do make a plan and then you doubt yourself and you'd like to change it, you do have the time to make your changes and submit it in. Another thing about the international break is should we move away from the template? So we've always been going through the template about the 3-4-3, triple up on premiums. I'm not too sure whether the template works at the moment because the template clearly didn't work this week for many managers. You know, barring Mo Salah, Ronaldo blanked, Lukaku blanked, Trent was out, Kane blanked. So these are the big players. Antonio blanked, who's got high ownership. So the template clearly hasn't worked. So should we be thinking alternatively someone like a Jimenez for Wolves, Mbembo for Brentford, Benrahma, who played well but didn't score any points through FPL this week? Should we be looking at alternative players to bring into our squads to really add some overall depth to our squads? So how many premiums should you go for? So for me, I think 2 is enough. I think there's plenty of talent on the pitch at the moment that you can really address and have a look at. If we go back to my homepage, so have a look here. You can see that, we've got Salah in my team and Ronaldo. I think Salah, Ronaldo or Salah, Lukaku is more than enough. There can be, other players that you can bring in around the 6 mil price for midfielders, 7.5 to 8 mil for strikers. There's a lot of talent out there for us to really target. So how many differentials should we go for? I don't think you need to go too far out in terms of differentials. But the reason why there may be differentials now is because people haven't targeted them. So, for example, Townsend for Everton has performed outstandingly for me. So why not go for someone like a Townsend? Yes, Gray's done well, but he's on penalties until Dominic Calvert-Lewin's out, and he's the most forward-playing player for Everton, Decore included. Gray's done well for me whilst he's been in my squad. Jota, do we need to move away from him? Firmino may be injured during the international break. Will he be allowed to feature in the Liverpool squad due to COVID regulations? There's no clear answer around that. So don't need to jump the gun straight away on Jota as we speak. Should we move away from Trent and bring him back later? That's something that I'm looking at potentially at the moment as well. So what can a draft look like in terms of premiums? You don't need to go wild with it. Should Bruno still come in for 12 mil being on penalties? I think he's a good shout with penalties on there at 12 mil to be fair, because Ronaldo, he's not on penalties at 12.6, 12.7. At the moment, he doesn't seem an essential buy for me. And if you do a comparison from Ronaldo versus Lukaku, these are their 4 fixtures for the next 4 game weeks. Now, Lukaku personally hasn't hit the ground running in the last couple of game weeks, but he could have scored this weekend. He had a goal ruled off from offside correctly. But what does that mean for Lukaku's confidence? We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, let's just take form out of the window. Looking at this 4 fixtures for both players, yes, they're both great in their own means. I certainly would like to target Lukaku. Ronaldo, I don't know. I doubt he's going to be benched for any of those games, but it was a concern if Ollie isn't playing him against Everton at home. I know they've played 2 games in 7 days and this will be their 3rd game in 10 days, but this is Ronaldo at the end of the day. He's probably the most fittest player in the league in terms of fitness. He should be fine to go, and he was absolutely, I would say, annoyed that he was benched in that game. So for me, Lukaku in this, you have to go for it. And after game week 12 or 11, you can consider bringing Ronaldo back, maybe game week 16 when Manchester United's fixtures turn for the better. Now, let's go back to the homepage and let's have a look at a potential draft that I've created. So, as you can see, this is the draft template I've made. So, Chelsea versus City defence is like the main question at the moment. From Chelsea, I went Alonso, which wasn't a great shout. Chilwell came in, did really well, gave away a penalty, but scored. So, Chilwell will get more minutes now. Now, for me, I've kind of moved away from a bit of the kind of like generic questions and answers that I used to have. I've gone for a premium keeper in Edison in goal. Now let's have a look at Manchester City's fixtures. So we went through the next 4 game weeks, but even after the United game, Everton, West Ham, Aston Villa, if you look all the way to game week 21, they've got some really nice fixtures built up. So maybe having Edison for clean sheets might be a better option than going for a Chelsea double up. That's just my overall opinion. And that's the reason why I've brought in Cancelo. Now there's a rotation risk with Cancelo, but he can play right back as well. So Kyle Walker can be rested, he can be rotated. I think he'll get more minutes. Played well against Liverpool, was unfortunate not to get any points. Got a yellow card and conceded 2 goals. But Cancelo's done well this season, 2 assists, and I expect him to be there or thereabouts. But if you've got players like Livramento on the bench, they can come in and cover if he is rotated at any point. Then Diaz, he's pretty much going to be nailed on to play with Edison pretty much every single week. And we've gone through their fixtures as well. So to game week 21, barring, I'd say, 2 games, which you can see is red. Even West Ham at home shouldn't be a red for me. It's only 1 game where I'm looking at it thinking Manchester United is a difficult game. Maybe tripling up on Manchester City and not doubling or tripling up on Chelsea might be a better idea. Defensively, I'm talking about. So I'm not saying triple up on Chelsea defensively, but if you were going, Alonso and Rudiger like I did, or Alonso, Chilwell, Azpilicueta either way, or Mendy in goal and Mason Mount and Lukaku, any triple ups. Maybe going Man City defensively might be a better strategy for you in the long run. Now, looking at Chelsea, again, of course, there's plenty of green there. Then they hit Manchester United and West Ham. But even though all the way up to, I'd say, game week 20, they look pretty decent as well. So again, it's two fixtures, the same fixtures, Manchester United and West Ham, which are the red fixtures. But again, it's just the rotation aspects. Can we sustain those players? Can they get the most out of it? For me, I've had a bit of a tinker around, and I think, I've played with all options. But for me, Edison, Cancelo, Diaz, why not get those three in? You get the best of the Man City defence, best of Rudiger in terms of Chelsea defence, and you get Lukaku up front as well. So you got Lukaku up front with those three at the back. Now, the four midfielders for me, if I was playing the wild card, would be Rafinha. Some really good fixtures. The Leeds have gone by. They will hit some more difficult fixtures a lot later on than people anticipate. But Tottenham will be a good game for them, and Leicester. But barring that, they've got some really good fixtures. So there's no need to really rush around and look to get rid of him. He's still the best option for me, around 6.5 mil. Mo Salah, I doubted him this week. I shouldn't have done. He's an absolute great 60% ownership. Manchester United, West Ham and Everton and Arsenal are some good games for them to play. But otherwise, I don't care how difficult the game is. This guy is insanely good, and you can't get rid of him, I'd say, until probably 1st of Jan. That's a Chelsea game, I wouldn't say because of that, but the African Cup of Nations, if they go ahead, he will be going out. So then we can consider someone like a Bruno, but we'll have a new wild card, so we can looking at alternative options then. But till then, Salah should play, and he should be pretty much captain in most game weeks. Now, Jota is the main player for me that I get questioned a lot around. Should I drop him? Should I not? I don't think there's any need to at the moment, because Jota for me is going to be the player who I'm going to keep for another 4 or 5 game weeks. But then, if you look at here, in terms of when they hit around Arsenal game, or maybe around that period, if he's not still performing, I could look to downgrade him to someone like a Ben Rama, someone like an Mbembo, and then kind of bring back in game week 16 Cristiano Ronaldo for Lukaku. So he can be kind of like the player that I look to downgrade. Or Edison, bring back a 4.5, 4.6, or probably 4.7 by then Ramsdale or Sanchez goalkeeper. So I should have enough funds to bring in either of them, or vice versa. I could upgrade Trent by downgrading him to Mbembo, because Brentford do have better fixtures coming up after game week. I think it's 9. They should start having better fixtures. So Jota is kind of like my player who, if I don't get any rewards from, and I just think, it's the time to take him out, then I shall definitely look to take him out of my squad and upgrade players in alternative positions. Now, Townsend for Gray. Now, a lot of people will raise their eyebrows. Gray's done well for me, but Townsend's been absolutely insane so far this season. 5 returns in 7 games. He's been revolutionised by Benitez. DCL's not been there, so he's on penalties. The guy's got a lethal shot from distance. What a goal he scored against Burnley, by the way. And that goal against Man City a couple of seasons ago still is fresh in my mind. And this guy, played well at Manchester United as well. Could have had so much more in the United game, and even in the Norwich game that he played as well. So he's caught my eye. So why not go Townsend? Doucouré's played well. Gray's played well. They're all good options for you to consider. But at 5.5, this guy seems an absolute gem to avoid. Why go Kovacic when he's a bit more attacking, and bring him into your squad? And I've got St. Maximin in at the moment. Now, the alternative could be, you could look at alternative players like Jimenez, Hwang for Wolves as well. You got players like Edouard, who played decent, didn't get any returns against West Ham for Crystal Palace. So there are players there. But at the moment, St. Maximin, I feel I can be a bit more patient with. He's got Tottenham next week, which is a tough game, then Crystal Palace, Chelsea. So he's got some good games in there. And he's kind of like the main man whilst Callum Wilson is injured. So I could always upgrade him to Callum Wilson, if he comes back. Or I could go to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And in terms of Everton fixtures we didn't go through earlier, they're not too bad either. I think, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Townsend double up should be a good team to have in terms of getting the most returns from Everton. Now, Antonio, a lot of people are saying, should we stick, should we twist? He's owned by so many managers. I just think in a wild card, you shouldn't think about dropping this player at the moment, because if he comes off with a good points haul in the next couple of game weeks, he's got Everton, Tottenham, Aston Villa, it will overall affect your overall rank. So for me, he should stay, give him a bit more time. He's not injured at the moment. I think he should be fine to get us some more returns overall. And then Lukaku should come in for Ronaldo. He's been, not that great. He hasn't got the service really in the last 3 to 4 game weeks. But look at those green fixtures. He will come good at one point. Captaincy, maybe Newcastle, Norwich would be a good option, or Burnley as well, because other players such as Salah can play Manchester United, and obviously Ronaldo can play Liverpool in that game week as well, and vice versa when the Manchester derby happens as well. So Lukaku does have some games where he could be an ideal captaincy choice. So for me to achieve this is 5 transfers. I think it's 6 transfers, and that's going to be a minus 16. 5 transfers, sorry, in total. It will be a minus 16 for me if I was to play this. Now, I think this looks like a good squad. Would I do this? Potentially, yes. Can I make a knee-jerk? I could do, but this is what a wild card would look like for me if I was playing one right now. I'd be pretty content with it. Jimenez is someone I'd look to get in, but I think, in terms of Jimenez, I just think Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me would be a better shout, but Jimenez is a great shout as well. But without a wild card, I don't really think I need to make that another transfer for a -4 at the moment. It's been a good shout from him so far, but at the moment, it's good to stick with maximum for this game week. So that's what it looks like for now. In terms of keepers, what you can look at as well, rather than Edison, why not Ramsdale? 4.6 mil, decent games for Arsenal. Let's look at some Arsenal fixtures. So they've got Crystal Palace at home, Aston Villa at home, Leicester and Watford. So some good fixtures for Ramsdale. Why not Raya from Brentford? Got some good fixtures as well. Sarr for Wolves. Got some really good fixtures coming up. And, should you go premium like I've looked at Edison? So I think there's a long list of keepers that we can consider, but I'm thinking to move away from the template. Now, why not Edison? Because Edison's got some really good games coming up. And, there's a good chance of him keeping a lot of clean sheets during that period as well. So I can see a bit more stability here. So I've pretty much gone for a triple Chelsea defence because I think in the next 12 game weeks, they look pretty much nailed on to get, I'd say out of 12, at least 8 clean sheets. 2 difficult games, and obviously they can concede here and there. But generally, they're pretty good, barring obviously conceding 2 midweek in the Champions League. They're at PSG with Messi, Neymar. That's probably the best strike force that the game has seen at the moment, or in Europe at the moment. And they've got obviously Liverpool at Anfield, which is a tough game as well. So I think there's some really good things to come from City in terms of defensively. Rudiger is going to be the defence kind of like stalwart in Chelsea. So you got that covered, Chelsea and Man City. And then up front, you've got Lukaku, Antonio, Saint-Maximin. You can obviously change that to Jimenez if you want from there as well. And obviously Jota, I've kept him in. You can obviously look to change him as well for someone like a Ben Rama, Mbembo, or if you want to go, alternatively to like Greenwood. I think Greenwood's going to be having that many great fixtures for you to consider. Mount, I don't think he's been that great. People are saying Mount changed the game against Southampton. It's actually the sending off of Ward-Prowse. So I think, Jota might come good in the long run. And still, I looked at the charts when I was doing this setup. He's still the 6th most transferred in player. Now that's ridiculous. For someone who's being, concerned around minutes and not being performing so well, he's still the 6th highest at the point of this recording. Obviously that'll change probably when you've seen it. He's still the 6th highest this game week already to being brought in. So he's still a popular figure. People still respect how well he can do. He's just not put away his chances. Now that's what my wildcard template would look like. There's some, decisions which are knee-jerk to make there, but these are kind of like the thought process that I'm thinking of. And this is pretty much, if I do play like 5 transfers or 6 transfers and get a minus 16, this is what my team can look like in game week 8. Am I going to do that? I'm pretty much almost there. I'm this close to hitting the submit button. Do I want to take a 16-point hit? Not ideally, but over 12 game weeks, can I recoup it? I think I can. Because of the team that I have at the moment, I think I'm not content with the Alonso move, despite me thinking he'll get rotated or dropped for Chilwell, but he was just in such good form, I just couldn't see it happening. But I was proved wrong, so why not think of the alternative plan? So this is what it will look like in terms of a wildcard team for me. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like the squad? Do you like the thought process? What are you thinking? Are you hitting the wildcard, or are you giving it a miss for a couple more game weeks? Let me know. Drop it in the comments section. Type that code in. Join the FPL Inkling League. If you haven't liked the video so far, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We crossed the 900 subscribers mark over the weekend, and we're now moving towards the 1K mark, which is my target, which was my first target to hit as soon as possible. So please hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for some more content. I want you guys to take care, enjoy the international break, think about playing your transfers, hit that wild card if you want to, and just be brave. Till then, take care.